Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode review. This time we will be going over episode 3 of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. If you want to watch this episode subbed, I will have it linked down below in the description. But before we begin, I always like to quickly go over a few changes, if there were any notable ones that the English dub made from the subbed version, and this episode did have quite a few. So in the very beginning, in the dub, they showed when Yugi was talking about how he needs to take down Pegasus and how Pegasus is going to be very difficult to take down because he can see into people's souls and always knows their strategies and what cards they have. You see in the English dub Pegasus and Grandpa's face, but in the original, you only see Pegasus's face. The dub added Grandpa's face in there, so that's kind of a minor change. Yugioh, which is the bully, is unnamed in the English dub. Of course, he has a more prominent role in Season 0, but in Duel Monsters, I believe this is the only scene, the only episode that he appears in, and he goes unnamed in the English dub, but he is referred to as Yugioh in the Japanese version. Anzu, there's a few deleted scenes where Anzu and Honda, they sneak onto the boat, Taya and Tristan. Anzu desperately has to go to the bathroom, and there's a few comedic jokes between her and Honda about it. Those scenes, for the most part, are completely deleted from the English dub. At the very end of this episode, they're approaching Duelist Kingdom. They see the island in the horizon, and, you know, they're very excited for the tournament that's about to begin. And the episode in the Japanese version ends with an outline of Yami Yugi's face saying that in Sector Haga, Weevil will be the first to be taken down by him. He's going to be the first to be defeated. That scene is completely removed in the dub. And in the original version, when Mai kind of cons Rex Raptor out of his room, she is much more forward and more, I guess you could say, sexually implied in the sub. She says that if Rex defeats her in a duel, she will do anything with him, whereas in the dub, she just says she will kiss him. So obviously in the original saying that she will do anything, and then Rex even goes, "Tonight's my lucky night," or "will be the best night of my life," clearly implies that there probably would have been a lot more than kissing going on had Rex defeated her in the duel. Rex, of course, loses, and Mai kicks him out of the room and takes the room for herself. So those are a few differences from the dub to the sub, some really notable ones. Now time to get into my thoughts of the episode. What did I think of the episode? I liked it a lot. I thought it was very good for Jonouchis' character, finally showing why he was so interested in that money reward that Grandpa was talking to him about in the previous episode, where he said a duelist shouldn't duel for just money. I'm going to teach you about the heart of the cards. But we learned that his reasoning, even for dueling in this tournament, is, yes, it's for money, but it's for very good reason. It's not for selfish financial gain. He wants to use the money for his sister, Shizuka, or Serenity in the dub, her surgery. She's been progressively going blind. They got split up when they were younger because their parents got divorced, and obviously one parent took Serenity, one parent took Jonouchi. I'm very lucky that I did not have to go through a divorce in my family, but I know how difficult and debilitating it can be for certain families and for most families that go through it. So my heart really does go out to Jonouchi and Serenity in this situation. And so Jonouchi, it seems like he hasn't really seen his sister in a while, and the episode from his perspective starts off with him getting a videotape from her saying she wants to see him one last time. Clearly, she is going blind. There's a specialist in Germany. Jonouchi cannot afford the surgery, and that's why he wants to win. So I thought this episode was great for Jonouchi's character. He even dives into the ocean to try to retrieve Yugi's Exodia cards, just showing how much he cares about Yugi, and I thought it was very symbolic of when he dove into the water to get Yugi's Millennium Puzzle piece that he threw in the ocean when him and Honda were bullying him in the flashback that we saw. And if you've watched Season 0, you can pretty much see that episode in live time. But that's how they first met. Yugi wished for friends from the Millennium Puzzle. Jonouchi and Honda came. They bullied him. They destroyed the Millennium Puzzle. Then Ushi, well, they didn't destroy it, but they kind of broke it up and threw one of the pieces in the river right outside the school. Yugioh then came, beat the hell out of Jonouchi and Honda, wanted to get money from Yugi. Yugi wouldn't pay him for his quote-unquote services, so then he beat the hell out of Yugi, and they all kind of bonded over that, and Jonouchi dives into the river to get back that Millennium Puzzle piece, just like he dove into the ocean to get back the Exodia cards in this episode. So I thought even the symbolism there was really well done. Just a very good episode for Jonouchi's character, and a very good episode just for hyping up this next tournament. Going into this, we really only knew about Yugi Kaiba and Pegasus. We knew Pegasus is holding the tournament. We don't know where Seto Kaiba has been since his first defeat. We know, obviously, Yugi, Jonouchis, the core members of this group, Anzu and Honda, also sneak onto the boat, but we don't really know any other duelists. But we get formally introduced to Dinosaur Ryuzaki, Rex Raptor, and Insector Haga, Weevil Underwood. We get formally introduced to them. We also get formally introduced to Mai. Mai shows up and starts, well, I wouldn't say starts flirting with Yugi and Jonouchis. Obviously, Jonouchis is completely love-struck by her, and Jonouchis even calls her, says, what a babe. And Mai is actually stunned that someone as small and as seemingly innocent as Yugi was able to defeat Kaiba, and she says, I'm surprised like a little kid like you was able to defeat him, but I'm just letting you know, I don't go easy on my opponents, I'll crush you. She's really kind of a condescending person in this conversation, but it doesn't matter. Yugi and especially Jonouchis are just awestruck by her beauty, and even Anzu, who's watching from down the boat, comments on it and says, this is why men are the worst, or she says something like that. Honestly, the back and forth between Anzu and Honda in this episode, there were a lot of times that I found myself laughing out loud. I thought the comedy in this episode was really, really good. The way Jonouchis even gets onto the boat is Yugi gives him one of his 2 star chips, and because technically they both have 1 star chip, even though everyone is supposed to have 2, they're both allowed to compete. So I thought that was pretty good for Yugi's character too. He's sacrificing half of his star chips, half of his chances of winning this tournament, basically, and he'll be at a pretty major disadvantage just so that Jonouchis, his best friend, can get on this boat, can get in this tournament, and Pegasus allows it. I will say, Pegasus is pretty easygoing when it comes down to these things. I mean, I guess he knows that, everything he's already put Yugi through. If Yugi wants to let his friend in, so be it. So we'll see how far this will take Jonouchis and Yugi in the tournament. They're both going to be at a disadvantage with only 1 star chip, and you can already see maybe a bit of a rivalry starting when Rex and Weevil confront both of them on the boat. They each have their private room. Weevil says he's not going to really get a thrill of winning. He didn't find himself to be too impressed with how he won the last tournament, so he said unless he beats Kaiba or Yugi, he's not really going to be satisfied. So already a major rivalry brewing between Insector Haga and Yugi. At the very end of this episode, it's one of the only times you hear Yami speak, and Yami, who's been watching from inside Yugi, says, Insector Haga, you're the first that's going to be going down. I'm making sure you will be the first to be defeated. So he is clearly just as pissed as Jonouchis, as I'm sure Yugi, even though little Yugi doesn't really show anger too much, and as everyone else on the boat, Anzu and Honda. We even see in the preview for next episode, Anzu says to Yugi that he needs to take out that cheating, POS Weevil before anything else, and we can see that they're dueling in the preview. And it was kind of funny because when Insector Haga first showed up on the boat and he was talking to Yugi and Jonouchis, he actually seemed not that bad. I was watching from, again, I'm always trying to watch these episodes from a perspective where I don't know what's going to happen next, and he didn't seem like he was going to be that bad or evil of a character. I mean, he seemed kind of like, honestly, Dinosaur Ryuzaki sounded more like an a-hole than Weevil did, but he was talking about how this is actually not too bad of a setup for Yugi and Jonouchis. They get to trade cards, they get to study other duelist strategies, and I didn't really think that there was any evil intention there. Obviously, Ryuzaki was a little bit more of an a-hole. He was a bit condescending, and he walks away. He runs into Mai Valentine, and this was a very interesting part of the episode. He invites Mai back to his room, probably to his surprise. Mai says yes. She's just appalled at the thought of sharing a room with other people. Again, a very pretentious person. And so they go back to the room, and she says to Ryuzaki that she will do anything he wants if he defeats her in a duel, but if she wins, he has to leave the room and she gets the room for the night. So obviously, Ryuzaki thinks, I'm going to beat her, no problem, and then obviously it's going to be a very fun night from his perspective. And even though we don't see the duel, the next thing we see is her just kicking him out of the room, and I think saying, like, get lost, loser, or something along those lines. Mai defeats Rex probably pretty soundly in a duel, and does not have to do whatever, he wants. As she said, she gets the room. So Rex gets kicked out of the room. I thought that part was pretty funny, and as he was being kind of an a-hole to Jonouchis and Yugi for having to sleep with all the common people, well, that's where he's going to be spending his night as well. So that was a pretty funny way for his portion of the episode to end, and Mai using her looks, using her charm to get what she wants. We'll have to see if that is going to be a continued trend of this show going forward. Then we go to the top deck of the boat, and we see Yugi and Jonouchis talking, and Insector Haga says, hey Yugi, can I see the Exodia cards you used to defeat Kaiba? And because Yugi is so nice and sometimes a bit naive, he shows Haga the cards, and he gives Haga the 5 cards, and the second Haga asks for the cards and Yugi says yes, you see like the villain, the glasses fade that animes do a lot, and you hear the music, the kind of piano, intense, dark music, and you're like, alright, something bad is going to happen. And Haga says, you know, I've been trying to think of a strategy to defeat Exodia, to stop these cards, and I just have not been able to think of one until now. And he walks, and he throws the cards overboard, and Jonouchis goes for the cards, he only finds 2 of them, and Yugi's Exodia strategy is completely gone. The Exodia cards are gone. They are in the water. They're probably going to be destroyed from water damage in a matter of, 5 minutes probably after they get thrown in. So it's a shame that now Yugi is going to have to use a completely different strategy. You already hate Insector Haga. You can't not hate him after he does something like that. And you just want Yugi to pound the living daylight out of him. Obviously not in a fist fight because this is Yu-Gi-Oh!, but in a card game. So next episode, the stage has been set for what hopefully will be a very memorable duel and a very good duel between Haga and Yugi. Really looking forward to that. But anyway, guys, I'm going to pretty much wrap it up. I thought this episode was great. Good plot episode. Did really well to hype up the next tournament that's coming and introduce a lot of new characters formally and informally to us. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for the constant support. Please leave all your thoughts down below. I will talk to you about this episode down below, and remember, it is linked in the description if you want to check it out. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.
喋りかけているのに君は表情